Hello and welcome to the Justice Factor. Agangsa was at the forefront of the legal battle against IEC boss advocate Pensi Tlakula. But did it compromise its own values by teaming up with some rather unusual bedfellows? We'll talk to party leader Dr. Mamphele Ramphele. After that interview, we'll give you our big losers of the week. We don't have a winner for you this week, unfortunately. But first, we discuss the big stories of the week, and my esteemed guests are City Press Editor-at-Large, Mondli Makhanya, and eNCA Senior Reporter Thulasizwe Simelane. Guys, welcome to the show. Mondli Makhanya, I know it's been a big political week. You want to talk about Parliament, you want to talk about President Zuma, but actually I know you want to talk about the football. Nigeria winning against Bosnia, Ghana drawing with Germany. I mean, it's a big moment for the continent, no?
Well, it's been a fantastic World Cup all round.
I knew you guys wanted to talk about the football, but I'm going to move on swiftly.
But it reminds me of my time as a footballer as well.
Mr. Makhanya, no, we're not going to go there. Thulasizwe Simelane, should I care, and what rights do I have over President Zuma and his illness? Should we be told or shouldn't we be told?
Well, you know, interestingly, Justice, I got to put a few questions to former President's DG, the Reverend Frank Chikane, about some of these issues. And he's actually of the view that we make too much out of a president not feeling well. After all, the president is human like all of us. If a CEO of a big company is not feeling well, they take a few days off, and sometimes a memo will be sent to the rest of the staff that the CEO is not feeling well. This is CEO of South Africa, Inc. Why shouldn't he feel unwell a few times? I think it all in democratic South Africa is from that tradition when Nelson Mandela was president, when it seemed like a lot of things hinged on his well-being, the project of democratic South Africa, where there's justice for everyone and it's a new South Africa. This project sort of hinged on one person. I think it's unhealthy for it to hinge on one person, and I don't know, I'm no financial expert, and I'm not sure how the markets, for example, were affected by the illness of our president.
Mondli Makhanya, do you agree with that? That it shouldn't all hinge on one person, and that we should be told, and it's fine.
I beg to gently differ with my colleague. I think it does matter if a president of a country is ill. It's not like a CEO of a company or the captain of a team. It is actually someone who is in charge of a country. He's responsible for the finances of the country. Is responsible for big decisions which affect not only the 52 million South Africans, but I mean actually beyond the borders of South Africa as well.
So then surely I would say to you, Mr. Makhanya, that I need to be told that Mr. Malala, Mr. Simelane, you know, you need to know that your massive company is the driver is taking a rest and so forth.
I actually have no problem with full disclosure, but I just think that constitutionally the president of the country has a responsibility to the people, because people went out there and voted for him, and he put up his hand and said, I take an oath to serve the people of South Africa, and etc., etc.
Makhanya, why do I have to hear it through the City Press and not a proactive communications policy which says the president suffered a bit of discomfort at the NEC of the ANC and had to rest? You wait for speculation?
I think that they should have actually been a lot more transparent about it. I mean, like, getting sick is not a shame. And so I think they should have been more proactive, because there is so much speculation going on and everybody has a version. And the versions are not just only coming from the media. The media is being fed by people within the ANC who believe they know better. And so I think that being transparent about it, the president has got 1, 2, 3, and you can appeal for privacy.
I mean, if you think about it, we don't have that tradition on the African continent of openness and transparency about the health of a president. If you think about people like Yar'Adua in Nigeria, you know, the Nigerians were told he's going to be okay. You think about Malawi, where Bingu Mutharika actually passed away, and the people were told, no, he's going to make a full recovery. So there's no tradition of that transparency, which is what creates
Shouldn't we be writing our traditions right here on the southern tip?
We should be. And I agree. I mean, you know, if it's a flu, just the president is sneezing because, you know, he's had this long election campaign, that is something that is acceptable. But I mean, if it's something that stopped him in the middle of delivering a report at the ANC Lekgotla, then it's a bit more serious than that, and we deserve to know.
I have to say, I wasn't taking the story very seriously until I saw him being held quite tightly by the Speaker of Parliament, Malala, walking down those steps as he walked into his SONA speech. Let's talk about that. Mondli Makhanya, was it the best State of the Nation speech you've ever heard?
No, insofar as Jacob Zuma's speeches go, it wasn't terrible. It was better than the first one and better than the second one and so on, but it was flat. I think for the moment we were in, it is the country is facing some very serious issues, particularly on the economic front. There's issues in the National Prosecuting Authority, and there are big political issues. But I think it was a time when a nation needed a rallying call. That look, 1, 2, 3. Let's all put our shoulders to the wheel and get this nation out of this.
Your view, Thulasizwe?
You've got to feel for President Jacob Zuma, Justice, because if you think about the magnitude of the speeches he's had to deliver in this term of office, a lot of milestones were reached while he was in office, including the passing of former President Nelson Mandela. Then you had us celebrating 20 years of democracy, and then we have this election, and he has to come back and deliver a State of the Nation address, which was flat, and unsurprisingly, because if you consider the last few addresses that he's had, they were also flat. They sort of tended to be a recital of the successes of government and the figures. This time around, he toned down on that, but there wasn't that rallying call for a nation facing such things as the crisis on the Platinum Belt.
The ANC came out very much in defense of him, but the opposition, Mmusi Maimane, Julius Malema, the rest of the EFF really went for him, Thulasizwe. Were you surprised by that? Do you think the conduct of some of those parliamentarians was, shall we say, becoming?
Well, I thought I would miss the, Lindiwe Mazibuko leading the charge, because you remember the last one. She really went hard for President Jacob Zuma during the debate. But it turned out, actually, some people could do better than that. The EFF certainly made their presence felt. This was always going to happen with the EFF, where I think that, their strategy is going to be a bit difficult, is in that Parliament is a different thing. It's a different set of rules. You need your presence in Parliament. Basically you don't want to become the eccentric ones who are sort of seen as a side show, who stage walkouts and those kind of things. You want to be in there to have your say. If they continue to stay in Parliament, they can say all the things they want to say about President Jacob Zuma and expose him.
Mondli Makhanya, do you agree with that?
I agree, yeah. I think the big danger for them also is exhausting the public with theatrics. Parliament is serious. You are there to debate issues. You are there to do oversight and so on and formulate policies. You can do stunts, so many stunts, and the public will not take you seriously. So I think they need to think very strategically about that.
Well, it's going to be a long 5 years, but I want to ask you both a very serious political question. Is an African country going to win the Soccer World Cup this year? Thulasizwe Simelane.
Justice, why do you have to be so cruel to us Africans? 2010 was much, much better for all of us. This particular time around, it's all really depressing.
Thulasizwe Simelane, Mondli Makhanya, thanks so much for your time. After the break, a hang leader, Dr. Mampela Rampele.
News that moves. eNCA.com.